Hey there, welcome back. So we're moving on to thrillers. Again, in no particular order. My favorite thriller is going to change day by day, but I cannot do this list without talking about The Kind Worth Killing. This was my first thriller I ever read, and I'm terrified to reread it because I'm scared it won't hold up. But The Kind Worth Killing is basically man goes to an airport bar, sits down next to a complete stranger, turns to this woman and says, "God, I could just kill my wife." And the woman turns to him and says, "Well, why don't you?" And then the two of them plot to kill this man's wife. I refer to this as my twisty twist twist book because I had no sweet clue what was happening. It has my favorite twist in the world at like the midway point, and I am obsessed. I need to reread this, but again, I'm just terrified it's not going to hold up to the perfect thriller that is currently in my mind that I remember it as. Another one that I read early in my reading thrillers is going to be The Seven and a Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I don't even want to tell the plot of this without risking a spoiler. So all I'm going to say is a man's running through the woods. He gets to this house and is basically told he needs to solve the death of a woman named Evelyn Hardcastle. And the twist, I guess, could be that the Evelyn Hardcastle is still currently alive. He is in the past, and each night time resets itself, and he has another day to solve this murder. So each night, I think, ends with Evelyn's death. And oh, there's so many things that happen in this that I absolutely love. I feel obligated to give a little bit of a content warning in the sense that other people took issue with this book after I recommended it, and they said they didn't appreciate the fat phobia that happens at one part of this book. So if that's something you're not a fan of, I completely understand. But I really, really, really love this book. It was so unique, and I'm dying for another book like it. My Lovely Wife is one that I wish the ending was different. I had thought of an ending in my head, and I liked that ending better than what we actually got. The final ending seemed to wrap things up in too much of a neat little bow, but the lead up to it was very entertaining, and I really loved it. This is a husband and a wife serial killer team. So they reconnect or whatever their marriage by going out and becoming serial killers. And then at one point in time, the wife ends up supposedly killing somebody without the husband, and the husband's like, "What the hell?" And it kind of spirals from there as if this wasn't already messy enough. Another great one is When No One Is Watching. This is a fantastic book. I love the atmosphere as we set it up. It is basically a gentrification of a neighborhood. People are buying up properties, the old owners are going missing, and it's just like, what is happening? I love the community vibes of this. I loved all the characters. There were great character relationships. My only complaint being the ending took a hard left turn and went a little off the walls, which normally I appreciate, but I felt like I was really enjoying the close community aspect, and it kind of turned into the plot of a Bond movie, which is my only nitpicky criticism, taking it from like a 4.5, or taking it from a 5-star to a 4.5 star. Local Woman Missing, that I still have mixed feelings about this book because it went from my all-time favorite thriller, kicking off The Kind Worth Killing, perfect 5-star book I'm obsessed with every page, immersed in this writing, and then the ending knocked it down to like a 1-star. I'm like, I went from 5-star new favorite to 1-star I hate this ending. I'm kind of a little bit alone on that. Most people seem to like the ending. I am not one of those people. Out of respect for my love of the beginning of this book, I did give it a 4-star. This is a book with multiple timelines. It starts off just with a brutal kidnapping scene or escape from a kidnapping event, and that very intense tone, thankfully for some people. I kind of would have liked it to continue throughout the entire book, but something tells me that would be too bleak. Kind of ends after that first couple chapters, and then it's more mystery. Hey, there's a missing person. There was a dead body found. You're jumping through timelines. There's talk about doulas and pregnancy, social commentary. There's the most disturbing scene I have ever read in my life. Like, I wanted to take a shower afterwards. There was so much character development and interpersonal relationships, and I was obsessed with this book until the ending, when everything just turned out to be a red herring, plot convenience. I don't know what happened to character motivations or who body swapped these characters that I loved into making stupid decisions. But I'm still really, really happy I read the first like 75% of this book. I might buy a copy, chop off the ending, and just pretend it ended in a cliffhanger or something. I don't know. Another book, The Woman in the Library. I really, really love this book. It flashes back and forth kind of thing between a group of characters who was at a location where a dead body was later found, and they're kind of get wrapped up in the murder investigation, kind of like a suspect, so they're trying to figure out who actually did it. And then to an author sending chapters of the story to I guess a beta reader or someone for advice. And during these short little interludes, there's another story taking place. And I was obsessed with these short little interludes. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked the characters from the main storyline just fine, but these short little interlude chapters, I was so hooked. If I ever were to write a book, I want to use that idea, or someone tell me like what other book does something like this, because I loved it. I was hooked. Turn this audiobook on. I didn't have a physical copy. And I did not hit pause until the book was over because I was just that invested in the story. All right, let's go into some very straightforward mystery thrillers. These seem very predictable by the book, but people got a lot of enjoyment of them. I binged all of these. I have no complaints. They just, like, they're a 3 or 4 star because they didn't do anything new. They didn't really surprise me, but people really, really love it. And I apologize for this first one on the list because it's beloved. They Never Learn. This is told from the point of view of a serial killer on a college campus who is targeting men or anyone who hurts and victimizes others, and rightfully so. They deserve it most of the time. And she has another agenda where she's getting her ultimate revenge and she's working up to that. My main criticism, other than it being really predictable by the book for me, would be every male character in this book is, of course, the absolute worst. Not going into details about that. Sorry, any male straight character. The gay ones are fine. Ending Jessica, I just realized I gave away a huge spoiler here, so whoops. But there was a twist which I called very early on, and it just kind of lost some of the enjoyment for me personally. But this is a very well executed thriller, and many, many, many people love it. The Night Swim is another one that I really, really loved. However, it was very predictable by the book. I knew what everything was going to happen. And it kind of missed the opportunity to explore anything nuanced. So, in present day timeline, a podcaster, I don't know, someone who runs a podcast, is investigating or covering a rape trial. And in the past timeline, there was a missing person / murder. I can't remember if a body was found. It was probably found. And someone in the present day is asking her to investigate this past event. And it's going back and forth between the two, and it's really well done. However, I felt it lost the opportunity where it could have explored more like what is consent. So it was very by the book. This was very clearly assault. There's an eyewitness. Everyone knows there's no gray area to it. Where it could have almost looked like it was going to explore, this character thought the lack of verbal no was kind of consent, like they weren't saying stop, so they continued. Whereas the other character could have thought like the lack of verbal yes should have been enough for them to stop and get that verbal yes. So, like, just a miscommunication thing. That would have been something, that a gray-ish area that I would have like explored, rather than this person holds someone down and the person was screaming, so clearly assault. I can't remember if it's all that graphic. I don't think it's too bad, but use your own judgment for that. The characters are very well done. I think this really sets itself up for a sequel, and I don't know if one is planned, but I would definitely read it 100% if a sequel were made. My very favorite, predictable, simple thriller that I read recently is going to be One by One. This had very mixed reviews, but I ate it up, read it in one sitting. This is one of those I sat down and whoops, I read a book. I wanted to read a couple chapters and I didn't stop until it was finished. A group of entrepreneurs, they're making an app, are on a ski weekend. There's an avalanche. They're trapped there, and then someone's getting killed off one by one. It is predictable as hell, and it is atmospheric, and I loved it. I binged it. Highly recommend. Just don't expect like a crazy plot twist, things going off the rails crazy. It's just by the book. Very fun time. I got two thrillers that don't take it themselves too seriously. They are going to be, what are they called? For Your Own Good. This is narcissistic characters. They're in high school. You got multiple points of view. A couple teachers who are such narcissists and can't wrap their heads around other people having motivations that don't directly apply to them. Then you got students who are just little, I don't know how to describe them. They're full in their stuff. They're teenagers. And then one of the characters, and I love to hate this man, is just like, hey, this person's kind of bothering me. Maybe I should drug them. And then, oh, this person died? Is it because I drugged them? And there's another, well, I guess the best way to cover up the accidental death is by committing a murder to blame someone else. And it snowballs. It's a train crash that you can't look away from. It is a snowball building up momentum, getting larger and larger as these people just make the biggest mess of their lives. And I ate it up. It was overly dramatic. It was stupid crazy. It was dark, tongue-in-cheek humor at times, or satire or something, and I ate it up. I love this book. I love these characters. Oh, I loved it. Next book is going to be So Happy for You. And people are going to hate this book so much. Do not take it seriously. I hope it's satire. And it is a wild ride that I am choosing to interpret as a dystopian society where getting married is everything, and there are dark, dark rituals to make sure that your wedding and marriage goes well. And this woman has very strong views of many things, including feminism, the marriage industry, social media industry, feminism, politics. All of it is very extreme. There's no gray area. It's right, wrong. You're a good person, you're a bad person if you think or feel any of this way. Hence, satire, I think. And then she is asked to be the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding. And the book basically opens with, well, this is how my best friend tried to kill me. And it goes from there. It spirals. It's so much fun. This is another one. I hit play on the audiobook and I did not hit pause till it was over. Such a wild ride. I recommend, but again, people are going to hate this book. Those are my favorite thrillers. I will talk to you later. Bye.